Good afternoon and welcome to the Introduction to Biomedical Science webinar. My name is Lanisha. I'll be your host for today and I am the Events Officer at St. George's University. So thank you all for signing up to attend this webinar. Just a little bit of housekeeping. So you guys will be able to see the presenters and those that are speaking, and you'll be able to see our presentation slides, but you won't be able to speak to us. We won't be able to hear you. However, you guys might find that there is a chat box in your panel. And so if you have any questions during the course of this webinar, then please do type in your questions and we will endeavour to answer those when we have a Q&A session at the end of this session. Okay, so to start off, we are going to have a presentation by Dr. Yao from the Biomedical Sciences team.
Hello, everyone. I would like to talk to you today about the Biomedical Science course in St. George's, the BSc and an MSci degree. I'm one of the admissions tutors for the Biomedical Science course. Now, whenever you are considered to choose any university or a course of in any university, there are something that you would like to consider. First, you want to consider the career opportunities of that course, the facilities for students within that university. You also want to look at the course content and then the satisfaction of current students and why do you want to choose that specific university. What can you do with degree in biomedical science? You may ask. There's a lot and varied opportunities, career opportunities for students who graduate with us in biomedical science. Some can work in the pharmaceutical industry, biotechnology, and clinical research. They can also work even in a law firm, grant funding, and also in medical writing and then in teaching. The course has been designed currently, or we have changed the course to enhance students' career opportunity and also to give more choices for students when they come to the third year. So in year 3, the program you can specialize in many areas, which include global health, anatomy, genomics, infection and immunity, medical ethics, and law. That will give you further career options. And you can also do further degrees, including physician associate studies, MSc, PhD, or go on to do medicine. Degree in biomedical science also in St. George's also gives you transferable skills, and it develops these skills for you when you go out to work. You develop skills like communication, team working, management, and problem solving. There's also planning and then organizational skills will be developed when you study biomedical science with us. And then you also develop your leadership skills, interpersonal skills, and also digital and literacy skills. As a biomedical science student also in St. George's, you can enroll in the St. George's Skills and Recognition Award module. This will then allow you to showcase some of your skills and gain an award that you can also include on your CV. So come to St. George's gives you a lot of transferable skills that allow you to go and work in so many diverse areas in the industry or in academia. Some of our biomedical science alumni have entered different careers having graduated with St. George's. Got someone working as a clinical research senior site manager at the Pharmaceutical Research Associate Health Sciences. There's one student also working as an auditor at KPMG, which is an auditing company. There's another student working as a review operations assistant at Frontiers Publishing. One student also have gone on to work with paralegal at Hampsons. There are students which have also gone on to work with Deloitte, which is also an auditing firm. Some students also go on to do further studies, a PhD, and then there was another student also went on to do physician associate studies, and is now working at Bath and the North London NHS Trust in the neurosurgery department. finishing or graduating from St. George's, there was a study or a survey, which the national survey of all universities was done. This was not made by St. George's, but it was a national survey of all universities. That survey students after graduation, 6 to 9 months after graduation, and they found that for the St. George's students who graduated from 2013 to 2017, about 30 to 35% were working or were in employment, and about 60% of them have gone on to further studies. And if we look at 2017 and 18 also, which is the most recent one, the pattern remains the same. For the BSc Biomedical Science, about 85% of students are either in unemployment or they are doing further studies. And then with the MSci, 100% of the students who graduate with MSci in St. George's were either working or in further studies after 15 months after graduation. So the course, the biomedical science course in St. George's has gained popularity since its inception in 1999. As you can see from the bar chart, there are a number of students who applied to come and do St. George's biomedical science degree has increased steadily, and it only went down when there was a change in the UCAS choice of the universities from 6 to 5 choices. And also in 2013, when there was an increase in fees, the number of students that applied went down, but since then it has been increasing steadily. And recently we had, in 2019, there were about 1,300 applicants for to come and do biomedical science in St. George's. This is only for the normal application, not counting the number of students who applied through clearing. So what do you need to study biomedical science in St. George's? If you are doing GCSE A level, then you need A and 2Bs, but that should include chemistry and biology. Now, I want to stress here that we, St. George's, accept much lower, our requirements are much lower than our competitors, because we want to increase the widening participation students within St. George's. So we also offer students with lower grades if those students are coming from schools that have got adjusted criteria. And if someone resits their A-level or they do their A-level for 3 years, we also accept their grades. So their final grades or the last grades will be accepted. However, we do not accept general studies. You have to have 5 GCSEs, which you with at least 6 or a B in maths, English and double science, or biology and chemistry. If you are doing international baccalaureate, then the overall score should be 34. So for the higher level, you should have 16 points, which you include 6 in either biology or chemistry, and then 5 in the others. And then for the standard, the minimum of 5 in maths and in English, if you do not have 6 in the GCSE level. We also accept access to higher education diploma, which should include a 45 graded credits. And out of the 45 graded credits, 27 of them should be in distinction and 18 should be in merits. Currently at St. George's, there are about 3,700 undergraduate students, not counting postgraduate students. And then with the biomedical science course, the intake for every year is a minimum of 250. This year we had 250 students, and there's also about 1,200 or about 1,200 medical students in St. George's. There are other students which include professions that are allied to medicine. We have healthcare sciences in St. George's, paramedic science, physiotherapy, radiography, that's therapeutic and diagnostic, and also clinical pharmacology. So St. George's is a specialist university that is for people who want to do medicine or to do any course related to medicine, because the university is also located within, and then we share the same grounds with one of London's largest hospitals, that is St. George's Hospital NHS Trust. Teaching and facilities. Why is this important? This is very important because when you come to St. George's and in your third year, you may get to work with some of these facilities. You have the opportunity doing your research in third year working one-to-one with a supervisor. Most of the supervisors or the academics are specialists in their areas. So you will get the opportunity to work in these labs. And also when you are even in second year, you also get the opportunity to work in a special lab, which is designed for students working in pairs in the laboratory practicals. Each year, we have 30 weeks. The teaching year for St. George's Biomedical Science is 30 weeks, which is divided into 2 semesters. The first semester starts from September and ends in February, and the second semester also starts from February ending in July. Now, we estimate that students should be working for about 40 hours per week. So the contact teaching hours is approximately 14 to 18 hours per week. And these contact teaching hours include lectures where the whole cohort of about 250 or more students will have a lecture together. And then there will also be tutorials for the first 2 years, where students are grouped in, will work in groups of approximately 8 students with an academic who facilitate the group work. You also work in the dissecting room, where you work in twos for you work also in groups, and then there will be about 8 students also per table. That's also you do it for the first 2 years. That is in anatomy. And then also you have practical classes for the first 2 years. That's where you work in pairs. That you also have the opportunity to make use or get to use some of the facilities that we've got in St. George. And then in your final year research project, that's where you work with individual supervisors. So you work one-to-one with one of the academics in St. George's. Now, I mentioned earlier on that we're choosing a course. One of the things that you want to look at is the course content. If you want to do any degree course, you want to look at the course content. Now, the core subject area in this, with the biomedical science in St. George's include anatomy, cell and molecular biology, genetics, immunology, pharmacology, pathology, and physiology. So you do anatomy dissection. This is very special for students who work, who study in St. George's. So you have a cadaver that you work on it and study the parts of the human body. There's also research methods and then laboratory techniques. Then you also study a molecular basis of disease that you in the second year, which includes cellular pathology, clinical biochemistry, and then hematology. And also you do microbiology and immunology, which includes infection and immunity, clinical genetics. And then your study skills and learning strategies, which is part of one of the modules called personal and academic skills. You do this one for the first 2 years, helping you in your writing and communication skills. So let's look at how the course content for the first year. So the course has now been designed in the modular system. So the first year, for the first semester of first year or semester 1, you do fundamentals of living cell, and then you do fundamentals of pathology module, then fundamentals in pharmacology and physiology, and then personal and academic skills. That will be the semester 1. Then when you go to semester 2, you do physiology 1, physiology 2, and then also continue with the personal and academic skills. So the first year, you start doing anatomy and physiology. In the second year, we introduce you into genetics or genomics technology. Then you continue with physiology 2, or we continue with the physiology, then looking at the different functions of the systems, and also in relation with the part of the human body. So you continue also to do the anatomy. In anatomy, that is semester 3 or second year of the first semester of second year. And then for the semester 4, you do molecular basis of diseases, which I mentioned that includes hematology, cellular pathology, and also clinical biochemistry. And then you also be doing microbiology and immunology. And then you continue doing the personal and academic skills. All these subjects are being taught by academics who are specialists in their areas. And there are some of these, because the university is within the hospital campus, we got a lot of these academics, which are also clinicians, who come and teach their subjects that they have specialized in. So the personal and academic skills module, we just want to tell you a little bit about that. That will help you to improve your writing skills. So literature search, referencing, and also how to not to plagiarize when you are writing any article, or if you are writing any essay, how not to plagiarize, how to write things properly, and also the integrity of your writing. It also helps you with your study skills, especially when you move from secondary school to university, where you have to learn independently. This module also helps you to develop your personal skills and then your personal growth, how you can manage your time and also your learning strategies. We also help with the employability. We have career advice that helps students when they want to decide on what to do after their degree or what to do with their degree. There are career advisors to support students. This module also helps you with your communication skills and also how to work in groups. It also helps with quantitative research methodology. That's how to analyze data and statistics and calculations. So when you finish university in St. George's, the biomedical science, you don't only become like a scientist that you in one way, but it develops so many transferable skills that can be used not only in the science field, but in other parts of the world. So that's for the first 2 years. Now, when you go to the final year, it is up to you to choose a pathway. So there's a flexibility of choosing what you want to do when you come to the final year. Now, there are 75 credits taught modules. You see there are 30 of the 14 of 30 credit modules, and there are also 16 of 15 credit modules. So you need to choose a credit module. Third module should be a total of 75. So you normally choose 2 of the 30 credit modules and then 1 of the 15 credit modules. That will be 3 modules. A total will be 75 credits. And then there will be a research project, which is also 45 credits. So you will choose which pathway or which module you want to go. That is why St. George's Biomedical Science, there's a flexibility and there's a lot of choices to be made. And we will talk about those choices in a minute. So some of the modules that you do in 2020-2021, some of the modules are listed here, the 15 credit modules. I'm not going to go through all of them, but there's a lot of modules, choices to be made. And also there are about 18 of the 30 credit modules that you need to choose from. And then for students who want to do medicine, want to go on to do medicine, this a special pathway called the BSc Clinical Bioscience. And also I'll explain that one later. So in terms of the choices that you have to make, the pathways, there are 9 pathways. So you can choose the anatomy pathway. You can also choose the pathway through cell and molecular biology, the genomics pathway. You can also choose a pathway like global health, infection and immunity. You can also choose the medical ethics and law, physiology and pharmacology pathway, the psychology, psychiatry, and neuroscience pathway, and also for the clinical bioscience pathway, which I mentioned that for students who specifically want to go on and do medicine after their graduation. If you're doing the BSc course, okay, if you are doing the MSci, then also there are also different pathways that you would like to do. There are some things that are compulsory that for every student who is doing MSci, and there are different things that choices that you can make from the MSci. So With St. George's, there's flexibility of the degree structure, as I mentioned earlier on. So depending on which pathway that you choose, when you graduate or in your third year, you do 120 credits. So I mentioned that you have 75 credits of taught modules and then 45 credits of research project, total of 120 credits. So because you are doing 75 credits, which is in a particular pathway, so you graduate with a BSc Biomedical Science with either anatomy, or you graduate with BSc Biomedical Science with cell and molecular biology, or with infection and immunity, or with physiology and pharmacology. So depending on which pathway that you decide to choose among the 9 pathways, you graduate with one of them. The MSci in St. George's is a continuous and an integrated 4-year program, which helps you to develop your research skills, and then also you do an extensive research project. It's normally targeted to students who are interested in research or in science, and you gain greater practical and research skills than when you do the 3-year biomedical science. And it makes you more competitive if you're applying to study for a PhD or a research post in academia, because you have done a lot more research. You are eligible for 4 years of student loan if you apply. This is an MSci, so you are eligible for a student's loan for the 4 years. And also you can also be able to go for the Erasmus scheme that's allowing you the opportunity to do your final year in an European institute. Now the MSci in St. George's Biomedical Science is the only one that is in London. Now, you may start first year that you want to do the MSci course, so the 4-year degree course. So the first 2 years, either you are doing the MSci or you are doing the 3-year BSc, the first 2 years, you all do the same thing. Okay, you all do the same taught modules and the same credit for the first 2 years. Now, if you are doing MSci, you register with MSci from first year. At the end of the second year, we expect you to have an average mark. So your first and second year score should be 60% or above. Then you can proceed to go and do the MSci, go to the third year and then do the MSci. If you are not able to get the 60%, then we will let you go on to do the biomedical science, the BSc course. At the same time, if you register with BSc 3-year course, and then at the end of second year, you decide, no, I want to do the 4-year degree, then again, we expect you to have achieved at least a minimum of 60% for the first 2 years. Then you can also move on to do the MSci course, where you do the third year, you do 75 modules, and you do 15 modules of biomedical research techniques, which is 15 credits. So in the total, you do 120 credits. And then with the third year for the BSc, you also do 120 credits for the third year, which I mentioned earlier on that the taught module should be 75 credits and the research project of 45 credits. In the case of the MSci, for your final year, the research project, the credit is 105. So you do more research if compared to the 3-year degree course, which is 45 credits. When you're doing the MSci, your research project constitutes 105 credits, and the research proposal is only 15 credits. So there's more research, and that is why we say this one is targeted for students who want to do science or research in the future. So there is flexible degree structure when you come to do biomedical science in St. George's. So you, with your BSc, you can graduate with BSc biomedical science with clinical bioscience, which I also talk about in a minute. With the clinical bioscience, I mentioned that it's only for students who want to do, specifically for students who want to go on and do medicine. So the third year, they do more of clinical anatomy and also clinical and communication and personal skills that will help them when they go and do medicine later. And then the research project that they do also is less credits. So they do only 15 credits structured research project. So you can graduate with BSc Biomedical Science with anatomy, or BSc Clinical Bioscience if you want to do medicine and you choose that pathway. You can also do the 4-year degree course, which is the MSci Biomedical Science, where in the final year, the research projects constitute 105 credits with only 15 credits of research proposals. Becoming a doctor after a medical doctor after your BSc. A lot of students may ask, how do I go about if I want to do medicine after my degree in biomedical science? Well, with the students in St. George's biomedical science degree, about 30% or more of them go on to do medicine. And there are 3 routes that you can choose if you want to do medicine after your biomedical science degree. Now, the first route, this is specifically for St. George's course only. That is for students who are doing biomedical science in St. George's only. So for those students, they go directly to T-year of the 4-year MBBS at St. George's Medicine after finishing their biomedical science degree. So if you are a biomedical science student and you want to do medicine afterwards, we expect you that at the end of 2nd year, you should have achieved an average mark of 66% or more. Then you'll be subject to an interview, an internal interview, MMI interview. Now, at the end of the interview, you are scored and ranked from the top down. So the students who achieve the highest score in terms of the interview, it doesn't matter how much mark you scored at the end of your 2nd year. You may score 90%, somebody may score 70%, but the interview, it is the interview that determines who will go on to the transfer to join the T-year. So at the interview, the students are scored in the order of merit. The students that achieve the highest score of the interview, that the first 25 students will be chosen, and then these 25 students will go on to the 3rd year, and then they will go on to do the clinical bioscience pathway. So they will do more of clinical anatomy and then the clinical communication and personal skills. And then means when they graduate with a 2-1 at the end of their 3rd year, they should graduate with a minimum of 2-1. Then they will join the T-year, that's the 2nd year of the 4-year program of St. George's. So that means they will do another 3 years of the medical degree. So total, that will be 6 years. Yeah, and that is what most of the medical students even do. Some of the medical students in St. George's, some of them take 1 year off, do a degree, BSc, and then go back to medicine. So in total, they also do 6 years. So that is one of the routes to do medicine if you graduate from St. George's Biomedical Science. So as I mentioned earlier on, so when you get the 66% and above, that means when you go to 3rd year, you go choose the clinical bioscience pathway, where you do 30 credits of clinical anatomy, 30 credits of clinical communication and professional skills in healthcare, and then also 15 credits of structured research projects. So you graduate with BSc Clinical Bioscience. The other route is the graduate entry course at many universities. There are graduate entry courses in many universities, which is also 4 years. So when you graduate at St. George's, then you can also go and do the graduate entry course in some another university, not in St. George's. For instance, if you are not successful in the interview, then you can go on to some other university to do your graduate entry MBBS. And that means another 4 years plus 3 years. That will be a total of 7 years. So let me say here that the clinical bioscience pathway, we normally have 60 students. So the first 25 students that qualify to go and do the transfer, that is, will be able to go and do the transfer, the T-year in the MBBS 4-year course. Then we take another 35 students who also would like to do medicine, but may not be able to do medicine in St. George's, but would like to go and do medicine elsewhere. So they will also be part of the clinic can also do the clinical bioscience course. So there will be a total of 60 students for the clinical bioscience course pathway, but only 25 of them will be selected through the interview to join the T-year for the 4-year MBBS in St. George's. Then also there's this traditional non-graduate medical course at many universities. Some other universities also accept graduates to start from the first year of the non-graduate course. So here you can also go and do your either your UCAT or BMAT or the exams that you require for that specific university, and then you do the course for another 5 years. So with your BSc in biomedical science, that also give you some experience, some knowledge, and then some transferable skills that will help you in your interview and also will help you with your degree in medicine wherever you do that. Now, professional training year. The St. George's Biomedical Science degree has an optional professional training year, which helps to enhance the employability of the students when they graduate. Now, what is the professional training year? As I mentioned, it's an optional, but it is an integrated part of the degree. So it's normally 11 to 12 months experience in a professional or an industrial area which is relevant to biomedical science. Or you can have a 7 to 8 months for Erasmus scheme in an European university. And sometimes this can be 7 to 8 months for an unpaid placement. Some of them can also be paid. You can get a placement that they will pay you. It normally takes place between the second year, or it takes place after second year. So whether you are doing, if you are doing a 4-year or 3-year, that will be the second year after you after your biomedical science. Then if you want to do a professional training year, then you can go to these places to do your professional training year. But the good thing is that the university or the medical course in St. George look for these places for the students. It's up to the student and prepare the students for that. So the aim for this professional training year is to prepare you for the world of work beyond university, and also to enable you to develop key employability skills that employers are looking for, that will equip you to be to the changing demand of these workplaces. It also enables you to mature through personal and professional skills that working in for 1 year to help you to mature through your personal and professional development. And also it helps you to evaluate your placement experiences. And at the same time, that will also enhance, you put that one in your CV, it enhances your CV. One other thing that is also important that we want to mention here is that students who do this professional training year, normally, unsurprisingly, if they do this sandwich course, these students significantly out-earn other modes of study. So the students that do from here, if the students that have done professional training year, their starting salary is higher than the students who have not done professional training year at all. And if they've done professional training year also, in 10 years' time, they will be earning more than their counterpart who did not take a professional training year. So it is very good for this professional training. It doesn't even really matter if you want to do medicine and you take that professional training year. It also enhances your skills, and it's also some part of work experience that you can use when you go for an interview for medicine or whatever interview that you go. You also learn when you go to this professional training year also, it also helps you to make more contact with people that you have worked with. So when you graduate, you can still have this contact and be able to get into the employment skill very easily compared to somebody who has not worked at all, because you get work experience from that as well. So this is how the process of the biomedical science professional training year works. So the first 2 years will help you to prepare your CV and also your application, and also interviews. So the university will help you. St. George's University of London will help you. The academics that are responsible for that will be helping you with this one in your CV preparation, how to make your application and prepare you for an interview. So the places that you are going for has been looked for. The universities look for this place. They bring they have searched for areas, different places, including Glasgow, the GSK, AstraZeneca, and so many places, even some research institutions, and then you apply for it, and then you go for an interview. They also help you, prepare you for the interview. Then when you get the chance or you get the offer, then that's your third year, you go for the placement. Whilst you are in the placement, an academic will come and visit you, and then they will assess you, making sure that you are doing things well. And then when you finish and you come to the university, back to your university, come to continue your course, that's on the fourth year, then you have to submit a final report for your placement. And then you get also a certificate of professional training year, which will be issued by St. George's University of London. And then you can go on to graduate with your BSc, or you can go on to study for your MSci and go and graduate with an MSci. So there are potential places for PTY, which include, I mentioned, GSK, Astra, Johnson & Johnson, Pfizer. Also, in St. George's, we have the Image and Resources Facility, St. George's NHS Trust, the Great Ormond Street. There's also Public Health England. So all these places are places that you can apply to go and do your professional training year. And then also there's this Erasmus scheme where students can also go outside an European institution, which include the Rabat University in the Netherlands. We also have the Granada University in Spain, and also the University of Barcelona. These are some of the universities that students can also go and do their professional training years. Some of these European universities, you can earn about 450 euros per month. And I forgot to mention that whilst you are doing your professional training year, your fees, you also get a reduced tuition fees for that year. So since we started this professional training year, the first cohort went out in 2018 and 2019, and about 10 students went. Some of them went to Pfizer, some went to Congenica, some went to KCL, some went to were in St. George's, University of London, and also St. George's Healthcare Trust, and some also went to UCL. The second cohort, about 14 students, again, some went to GSK, some went to Swiss Precision Diagnostic. We got some students who went to Great Ormond Street Hospital, KCL, and then also some went to the Erasmus scheme. And then the third cohort, that's the ones that are going 2020, 2021. The students that are going this year, there are 7 students. So you can see that some of them are also going to UCL, some are going to GSK, some will be in St. George's, and some are doing work with MEX. They will be working in MEX, which is a technological organization. But one other thing that I want to stress here is that not only have the students gained professional or transferable skills, some of our students, when they went also to do their professional training year, this student got a paper out of her project that she did during her professional training year. So Fauzia had 2 papers from her study or from her work when she was doing the professional training year. She worked in one of the European universities and got 2 papers out of her work. There's another student here who also was able to get a professional, during her professional training year, she was also able to get a paper out of the work that she did during her professional training year. So it's very, very important that I always advise students that it's very good to take a professional training year because you develop a lot of skills and it enhances your employability. If you want to do medicine, it's still very good for you because it helps you with your interviewing, this job work experience and other things, and then some of these transferable skills that you gain when you work there. And students are beside these transferable skills, they've also got a paper to their names. So the highlights is that St. George's is the course in St. George's is a unique biomedical science course in a specialist healthcare and medical school environment. Of course, we are within the medical, we share the same campus with one of the largest hospitals in the UK. So we got more of our academics who are also working as doctors or clinicians, teaching us, and you come across some of them, and you have any question, they are very happy to answer some of your questions relating to the course or the subject that they are teaching. There's also flexibility, and there's a focus in your third year. And then you also get an intensive final year research project with professional research groups. It's also closely integrated, as I mentioned earlier on, with the busiest hospital. There's also learning development, which is integrated within the curriculum. There's also the Erasmus scheme, giving you the opportunity to do your final year in a European institute, and also doing a placement if you are doing even a BSc. There are also career advice and support that is embedded in the teaching. So we support our students. So you've got a lot of opportunities to gain professional experience during the optional PTY. So many students will then therefore progress to do further studies in postgraduate courses or scientific researches or even in medicine. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Dr. Yao. I hope you guys found a lot of useful information from that presentation. So next we will have our student life panelists. So we'll have two students that studied biomedical sciences at St. George's. Just talk to you guys all about student life, approximately 3 to 5 minutes each. And then at the end, we will have a Q&A session where we will answer any questions that you guys asked before this webinar, and also some questions that you guys may have asked during this webinar. So for our student life panel, we have Charlene, and we also have Fahana. Okay, there's Charlene there. So let's first start off with Fahana.
So, hi everyone, my name's Fahana and I'm a Biomedical Sciences alumni, and I'm going to be talking to you about student life at St. George's. So I really initially chose St. George's because it's a healthcare related uni and everyone's studying healthcare related subjects, and I've always wanted to pursue a career in healthcare, so I really thought SGUL would be the perfect place to come. And so I really like the small community of the university, and there's lots of societies that you can join. So I personally joined SGUL Bengali Society, I joined Islamic Society, and I also joined SGUL Obstetrics and Gynecology Society. So I'd really encourage you all to join societies and get on the committees as well, so you can be really involved in the activities that the uni has to offer. So for example, through these societies, I managed to get opportunities to volunteer at homeless shelters. I got to go to conferences about obstetrics and gynecology and meet consultants. So it's a really good opportunity for you guys to go and network. And through Islamic Society, I managed to get involved in Charity Week as well. So got the opportunity to organise big events such as the Charity Week dinner, and we managed to raise a lot of money for children overseas that were in need, for example, in Yemen. And I really enjoyed getting to know the people on the committees. It's a really good way to make friends as well. And yeah, so Tooting itself is a really cool place to be a student. There's lots of places to go and socialise, and lots of places to go and get food, especially in Tooting Market. And in my first year, I also stayed in Horton Halls, and it's only a short walk from university. And now the flatmates that I had in first year now are people that I live with. So it's a really good opportunity to make friends as well, staying in halls, and it's a really nice environment. So I definitely recommend SGUL.
Thank you very much for that, Fahana. And next we will have Charlene.
Hello, so my name is Charlene. I am a third-year biomedical science student at St. George's. However, this year I'm actually completing my placement year at UCL Gosh on engineering CAR T-cell therapy to treat patients suffering from acute myeloid leukemia. So to kind of give you a background on myself, I have always been passionate about biology and more specifically physiology and microbiology at school. So when choosing a course for undergrad, I was kind of in between medicine or biomedicine. And actually I got accepted in to medical school in France. However, at that time, when I had to make a decision between those medical schools or St. George's, I felt like I wasn't ready and mature enough to undertake medicine yet. Plus, in addition, I was very interested in the research aspect of medicine, so this is why I thought biomed was the best choice for me, and still today I think it is. So now about my experience at St. George's. I don't know if you can see all the pictures, but this is kind of to give you an overlook of my 2 years at St. George's. So I took part in many different societies. Because of the variety of different societies that we have, there's a variety of different experiences and social events that come with it. So kind of an ideal of what I went for, I decided to go with the Pediatric Society, which provided me with a number of different work experience with the Pediatric Intensive Care Unit and the Neonatal Intensive Care Unit at St. George's Hospital. But it also offered me the chance to volunteer as a play specialist at the hospital Dragon's Ward, which unfortunately was postponed due to COVID. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it this year, hopefully next year. I also signed up to be part of the Biomedical Science Society, which is a growing society that just started last year, which basically the whole aim of it is to bring together all the biomeds, have a different events, and kind of show the different careers that comes with a biomed degree. Furthermore, I also signed up to be part of the basketball and netball teams for the sportive social aspect, but I'm also now part of the Literature Society. So there's so many different societies that St. George's has, and this is another reason why I just loved St. George's, because of this huge amount that was still connected to the degree I was doing. So now the reason why I decided to study at St. George's are because, firstly, I was in between the biomed or the medical routes. And so looking at St. George's, I thought that it would be the best place for me to make my decision. I would be able to gain the experience in the lab, so with some work experience, and the PTY, which was always something that I really want to do. But I could also gain experience with the societies and the hospital that is pretty much you're like studying in a hospital. So I knew I would have this bridge between the biomed degree and the medical degree. Secondly, I want a small university and a small community, which is the case for St. George's. The first couple of years away from the family can be daunting at first, and so I thought a small university meant that I would have this kind of this sense of closeness and a better community feel than in a large university, and I can say that this is the case. You have less this feeling of being lost in the crowd and more of this tight group that are all connected by healthcare degrees. Thirdly, the structure of the course really fit the way I learned. So learning anatomy using prosection lesson, which is the idea of basically dissection, but you're not actually dissecting the cadavers. I thought that was the best way for me to learn anatomy because I'm more of a visual learner. And it did actually allow me to learn better and quicker this course. And again, this is a bonus if you are interested in specializing in anatomy or study medicine. Finally, I straight away loved the fact that I was in London, but not in central London. You have so many different places around Tooting, such as Tooting Market or Tooting Common, which are great areas to visit and spend time with your friends. However, you're also 25 to 30 minutes away from central London. And you have to remember that central London is very busy and more expensive. So I knew when I had to make the choice of all the universities I want to apply, I didn't want central London as my choice because I wanted to be able to afford my first few years at uni. So this is a reason why I thought Tooting was the best match for me.
Thank you very much, Charlene. Thank you for that. So now we're going to answer some questions, some of those that were sent in before this webinar started and some that were sent in during. So if I could invite all of the panelists and staff back onto the webcam for this Q&A session. Thank you. Okay, so there were quite a few questions that were sent in beforehand that were answered throughout this presentation. So I'm not going to repeat that information there, but I'll just ask these questions. For Dr. Yao, what makes this biomedical course different from others?
I think Shelley probably might have summed up everything here when she talked about the biomedical science course in St. George's. St. George's Biomedical Science is the only one that does anatomy, that use cadavers to do anatomy. They do anatomy for the first 2 years. You can do biomedical sciences at other universities. Even there are some universities that are doing medicine that do not get that access to anatomy as St. George's Biomedical Science course. Plus, the biomedical science course also, as the Sharon mentioned, is within a university where everybody is doing something to do with healthcare. So you get a chance to speak to others, and then you share information. So it's and then also a tight community, suggest where almost everybody knows one another. And then you walk in the corridor, students know you, they call you, and then you can answer to them. You are in the office, students walk to you. It's just a friendly place to study.
Perfect. And also another question for you is, are there things that students should learn in advance of starting the course? So I guess outside of the basic academic requirements, is there anything you would suggest?
Okay, right. That is it's an early question to ask when you are applying to do biomedical science in 2021. But I think a student asked me this question. This student is starting this year. And then what I told him that because the first year, most of the course, the module that they are doing is the fundamentals of living cell. So if they look for something to do with cells and the structure of the cell, and then get a little bit of understanding of that one, it will help you, give you a head start. And also, you'll be doing anatomy for 2 years. We don't want you to go into much details, but read a little bit about the body, the human body. That will also help you.
Perfect. And some questions for the student panel. Maybe these can be directed at you, Farhana, as a Biomed alumni. So with regards to your personal statement, would you think a medicine-focused personal statement is good for applying for Biomed?
I actually do, because the way I was thinking about St. George's anyway, but the way I actually got into St. George's was through clearing. So I already had a medical personal statement. So when I was applying through clearing, they had to use my medicine personal statement, and it was absolutely fine. So you can do that, but that's because I was applying to medicine the first time round. So if you're applying to biomedical sciences directly, then I would make it medicine orientated, but perhaps more orientated towards the sciencey aspect of biomedical science rather than clinical experience. I mean, clinical experience is always good, but I think maybe make it more towards biomedical science rather than medicine specifically. But I think a medical personal statement is still fine.
Right. Can I add something to what is that Farhana who just spoke?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it depends. If the students, because we know we come across a lot of students who are want to do medicine, maybe use biomedical science St. George's as their, what do you call it, like a backup and something like that. So if you make medicine, it's a medicine. Everyone knows that you want to do medicine, but you still have a backup. And once you are applying your personal statement, if you want to do medicine, you have to demonstrate that you like science. Yeah. If you like science, you do medicine, you like science, because you need science to understand medicine. And if you like science, you can do biomedical science, and you can also do medicine. So it doesn't really matter. I mean, if this thing is well focused, even in medicine, demonstrate that you like science. And then when you're really reviewing your application, you won't say these students want to do medicine, so we will not take him for biomedical science. No, we just it's not very. It's not clear cut that because your personal statement is clearly to medicine, you will not be taken for biomedical science, but demonstrate that you like science, and then that should be okay.
Perfect. And there was just a few admissions questions that were asked, which I'll just quickly answer because they're very straightforward. So when applying for biomedical science, you don't need to have GAMSAT or UKCAT or BMAT. But obviously, if you are applying to medicine and you're going to also apply as with biomedical science as another subject, then obviously then you will need one of those admissions tests depending on which course that you're applying for. And all of our courses start in September. We have no January start dates because somebody asked if we have a January intake, and we don't. For any information about scholarships, we do have a scholarships page on our website, and there are different requirements for our scholarships. So I would say head to our website, sgul.ac.uk, and go to the finance section and read up about scholarships if you are interested in scholarships. And also somebody asked what the requirements are for international students. And obviously the requirements will differ depending on where you're from and what qualifications you're studying. So again, if you go to our website and look under the entry requirements page, there will be some requirements there for some international qualifications. And if there aren't any there, then for your specific qualification, then I would just suggest that you call or email the inquiries team at St. George's. The contact details are on the website. With your specific qualification and the grades you have, and they'll be able to let you know if you're able to gain entry or apply for the course with that qualification. For biomedical science as well, we won't just accept the BTEC qualification on its own. Somebody did ask if we do accept BTECs, and we wouldn't consider that just on its own. Okay.
We don't accept BTEC. No.
That's right, thank you. Okay, so there are a few questions sent through now, so I'll just go through those and let's see. Some of you guys that have sent questions into the chat box, you would have received the response from one of my colleagues already, but those that are unanswered, I'll just quickly read those out now. So it says, what is the typical number of students that we have transferring into medicine each year? Dr. Yao, do you know the answer to that?
What's the question?
The typical number of students that we have from biomed that transfer into medicine.
It's 25 students that go to the transfer, 25 students at the moment. Yeah.
Perfect, thank you for that.
I think somebody asked about the requirement for IB. I think that one has been answered already. Yeah, from I can see the question that what is the requirement for IB? So that was answered in the chat.
Yes, that was answered in the chat box as well. Yeah. I have another one here. Is it possible to still do some modules even if you are already qualified working biomedical scientists? No, so for our courses, you can't just study modules from the course. You have to study the whole entire course. So you wouldn't just be able to study just some modules from the biomedical science course. You would have to meet the requirements to start from the first year and study the entire course. Could you talk about some of the requirements for American students who want to apply to the biomedical science program? As previously said, if you could go to the website and just look at the requirements there for international students and your specific qualification, you should be able to find the answer there. Okay, well, I would like to thank you all for tuning in to this webinar. If you would like to continue on your conversation and you have any other questions, then I'll direct you to Unibuddy. So you can chat to some students on Unibuddy. So that's sgul.ac.uk/Unibuddy. There will be a recording of this webinar that will be available on our website. So if you click on our webinars page from tomorrow, you should be able to see that up there. And any other questions you have, please do email the inquiries team and they'll be able to answer your questions. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.